Okay, we're recording. So this is Module 6 coaching call, closing considerations. I'm Tim Harris. George will be joining us here in just a second via phone. He had to go to the hospital to check on his dad. So what we got here is Module 6. Okay, assuming you've got a deal set up and you've put it under contract, you've assigned the contract, and you are on your way to closing. There's a couple things you want to do prior to closing in order to make sure that you have a successful closing. You want to call about 72 hours prior to closing and check with the closing attorney or title company and make sure that there are no issues. You want to make sure that they've got all the docs from the buyer, your end investor. You want to make sure they've received their funds, make sure that if they're using a bank or a hard money lender that they have the docs, that they have everything they need to close the transaction. Your buyer is most likely going to want to inspect the property the day of closing. Most of the good buyers are going to want to do that, so you want to make sure that that is arranged and discussed so that you're prepared to make sure that happens. Make sure that the seller knows when they're closing and the buyer knows when they're closing. You want to attend both closings. You should get a copy of the HUD-1, which is the settlement statement, from the title company before you show up to closing. You want to get it, make sure that the contract price is correct, make sure your assignment fee is correct. If you've got a deposit, make sure the deposit is reflected on the HUD that you received it. And so if it's a $10,000 assignment and you've already got $1,000 of it, you want to make the assignment amount on the HUD should only be $9,000. And it's happened to me before where I had a buyer fall through, I had to do a quick assignment, and I'd put the $1,000 deposit on the assignment, but I never got the $1,000 deposit. And if that's the case, you need to make sure that it is not on the HUD where it shows you received $1,000. So basically, if your assignment is my assignment and it says that you're going to get a $1,000 deposit and for some reason or another you didn't get it, or even if it was written to the title company, you want to make sure that that is correct. That if it reflects that you received it, you need to make sure you've received it. If it reflects that you haven't received it, but you have, you need to make sure that's correct too, because it'll just make for a cleaner, smoother closing. You need to make sure all the seller's disclosures and everything's signed, and then you need to make sure that you attend the closing with your buyer and with your seller. And that's just because you at the end of the day, the point of closing is to make sure that everyone gets what they asked for, to make sure that the sellers are happy with the numbers, to make sure that the buyer everything has turned out the way he or she anticipated, and that at the end of the day, everyone is happy. A couple things post-closing you want to make sure you do. Post-closing, hang on guys, I've got to get to a different screen here. Post-closing, you want to make sure, I just lost my screen. Post-closing, you want to make sure that you have forwarding addresses for all parties. You want to make sure you have all the correct information for the investor. You want to make sure you have all the correct information for the seller after they move, because what happens is at the end of the year, you're going to keep a list of all of your clients, both investors and sellers, and you're going to send them Christmas cards. It's one of those small professional steps that I like to take that it really sets me apart from other people. And you know, the thing that I love about this business is repeat business. When you can get repeat business, it makes it a lot easier to continually profit in this business. So let's see. you want to make sure that keys are delivered in a timely manner, because you're not done with the transaction until everyone has received what they were promised. So if closing takes place and possession is scheduled to take place at closing and funding, you need to make sure that you continue to act as liaison between your seller and your buyer, and make sure that you're able to deliver the keys, possession. If there was a walkthrough, you want to make sure that the walkthrough took place and the investor was satisfied. If there are issues after closing, such as what's an issue that could happen? If there's an issue, you're going to have times where the buyer goes to do his walkthrough and finds out that the house has been vandalized. It's just one of those things. It happens.
I think also maybe utilities. Making sure that if the house isn't vacant, that the seller has turned off the utilities so the buyer can get utilities turned on and bills are paid. And there's always kind of, because some investors are going to want to hit the ground running, the day after, and hey, they haven't turned off the water, and just kind of trying to coordinate that is always sometimes an issue. Because nowadays TXU and all these utility companies, they take 3 to 5 days before they can get out there and switch it. So just something to think about, when you're in the middle of the transaction.
Exactly. So what we have here, I'm going to go ahead and show you guys. This is a settlement statement for a house that I recently wholesaled. You should be looking right now at a HUD-1 statement. Just kind of go step by step over this and let you guys walk along with me. So to start out, you've got the name and address of lender. There was no lender. This was a cash deal. You got the name and address of seller here. This is, as many of you heard the audio with the cop in South Dallas, this is his estate, his mother's estate. And then this is the name and address, the name of the new buyer. You've got the property location here, address, zip code, legal description. Again, the title company takes care of all this. Settlement date, disbursement date. So this is where in the past I've told you guys that if you're worried about the seller seeing your profit and things of that nature, what this HUD could actually do is I could have had the title company only print the seller side. All these other pre-filled boxes and items would be here. It's just none of the numbers would be filled in. So I'll see if I can. So basically you have these numbers on this side would not be filled in. You would just have blanks, but all these numbers on this side would actually be filled in. So that's another way that you can go in and get, just to make sure that if you're worried about it, people are on the same page. Now, you note the contract price of $35,000, and you see here settlement charges to buyer, $13,850. Those settlement charges are basically all of the assignments that were included on this transaction. So Jeff Hansen says y'all can't see the numbers. It paused. There you go. Is that better, Jeff? Okay. So I didn't know y'all couldn't see the screen, so I'll go back. I'll turn the spotlight back on. This side here is where the numbers are right now, because I had the title company include both the seller and the buyer side, just because I know it's not that big of a deal. But here you see where it's $13,800 in settlement cost. And I'll get back in here to the spotlight mode So these right here, that includes all the assignment fees and title fees. Here's the original contract price. Total amount due. The buyer receives credit for the taxes from January 1st through August 8th. And that number is reflected down here. And then I'll scroll down a little bit more.
Hey, Tim, I'm not on the screen, but talk to the students, or I wanted to make sure that, you know, what comes up a lot is when we say, you know, we're sitting across the kitchen table from the seller and we say we're going to pay all closing costs, right?
Right.
I mean, that's pretty typical that you'll say, look, I'm going to take care of all the closing costs, but proration of taxes is not something that you or I necessarily consider closing costs.
Yeah, it is not considered a closing cost. It's a debt against the property up to the day of closing. So here on the screen, you guys will notice that here on the seller's side is the exact as on the buyer's side. So they charge the seller for this $420.26 and they credit it back over to the buyer. So what happens is, you notice the gross amount due to seller was the $35,000, which was our contract price. And so the net due to the seller will be the $35,000 minus the $420.26 for the actual cash to seller. You see here it says cash to seller is $34,579.74. So that's page 1. Page 2 has a recap of all these fees. And you notice here at the top part, this is where normally commissions and lender's fees and all that would be in there. Since this is a cash deal, there is none of that. Here you see where all the actual, as George was just pointing out, this is where the closing costs are in the section 1100 title charges. There's a $75 doc prep that was charged to the buyer. Title insurance was $392. There's a tax certificate or a title guarantee fee of $5. Tax certificate was $48. And the total escrow fee was $300, which is $150 for the buyer and $150 for the seller. And it's just the buyer is paying all of those closing costs. Then you see recording and transfer charges. Now, this is the recording fees of the deed, $24, and then we always pay $6 extra for an e-file to get it done quickly. And then down here you see additional disbursement, $13,000. That'll be on the next page. So for a total closing cost of $13,850. So it's actually only $850 in closing cost. So we'll go down to the next page. This is the additional disbursements. So you have an $8,000 fee to my C Corp. You have a $2,663 consulting fee. This is basically a wholesaler that brought me this deal. That wholesaler, that was part of his assignment fee. He had that part paid to him. And then you see here, Tim Harridge, $1,000. That's just a little bit of running money for me, so to speak, that I don't run through that company. And then here you see a $1,337 assignment fee to Christina Mendoza, who is Larry's wife. Actually, I'm sorry, that's his sister. They have an agreement where it's basically a 66-33 split of proceeds. So it's a total of $13,000. My take on it was the $8,000 plus the $1,000 that was made payable to me, but then also I had a $1,000 deposit, so that was not in there. And you know, the buyer has to acknowledge this. A lot of times the seller acknowledges this. And again, this is not a big deal. If anybody asks me what are all these fees are, I just say, hey, that's the way we close our deals. And that's the end of this HUD. These assignment HUDs are very, very simple. It's nothing to really even fret about. The assignment HUD is very simple. So now I'll go back to the screen of this. And again, you just want to make sure you have everyone's forwarding information and contact information. And at the end of the day, you want to make sure that you that everybody got what they were promised and what they expected, and that the transaction met everyone's expectations. Because when you do that, what will happen is happy clients make repeat clients. Unhappy clients make no repeat clients, and then you're always working for new transactions. And then I want to talk a little bit about what to do with the funds that you get from these assignments. You need to make sure that you're handling your business properly. Right now, those of you in this course, you may have used a credit card to pay for the course. You may have used a credit card to pay for some of your list and property analysis software. You may have used borrowed money from friends or family to kind of set up your business. Well, first thing first, you pay your debts. Because if you borrow $8,000, then you make $8,000, you've actually profited nothing. And the thing is if you're carrying, say, $3,000 on a credit card, if you don't pay that off, you're going to eat up a lot of your profit just in paying interest. And good housekeeping is to pay your debts first, and then what's left, enjoy. And budget for the future, because just because you make $10,000 in July does not mean that you're going to make $10,000 in August. Just because you make $2,000 the first 3 months doesn't mean you're going to keep making $2,000. You may make more, you may make less. The point is, you need to try to build up a 6-month reserve. If your monthly operating budget is $500, then, and say you spent $5,000 getting to the first deal between advertising and list and education, etc. If you make $8,000, you don't need to start spending that money. I mean, it's okay, guys, to go out and celebrate it. I want you to celebrate it. But, first things first, I say pay back the $5,000 that you spent, and even if it's cash, just put it back in the bank. And then set aside, 6 months worth of $500 a month, $3,000, set it aside so that you're operating in the black for the next 6 months. And if you used a credit card and you paid the credit card back, well, then you can use that credit card for your business again. And the nice thing about that is if you keep paying it back, it'll always be there when you need it to buy a list or pay for advertising or pay for training, etc. So, that's a very important thing. So many people I've met in this business, they go out, they make 10 grand on a deal, they get lucky on their first deal, and then they blow all that money, and then the next deal they make 2 grand on, and now they're broke because they blew all the money they made on the first one. So, budget, build up a reserve, and be committed to long-term success, and don't be a one-hit wonder. George?
No, I would agree with that. I'm logging in right now. But, no, I think that you just got to plan for the future and pay back the debts. And, what I would say is, some months are going to be better than others. We all hit highs and lows, and I think if you always keep your well, have that money in there. I mean, part of being successful is having a consistent, the consistent marketing piece, which would lead to other checks like this. And so many people just kind of forget about that, and this is kind of a marathon, not a race. And so you have to, you always have to put X amount of dollars out of each deal back into running the business.
Exactly. So what I'm going to do right now, guys, is I'm going to launch a poll. And this is just something that George and I are curious. So if you would, just do me a favor, check the boxes that apply. I think it only lets you check one box, but I just want to know what you're having the most trouble with right now. Is it comps? Is it leads? Finding buyers? The POP? The SOS? Of course, I can't put everything in there, but I'm just curious. I mean, I'd like to know what you guys are having the most hang up about. Okay, so 1 of 13 is answered. Ah, there we go. Okay, we're not to 57%. We're not even to 50. There we go. We're at 55%. That means 7 of you have selected something. Maybe you're thinking. That's fine. Okay. So,
yeah, I mean, the key ingredient, Tim, can you hear me all right?
Yeah, I hear you fine.
Okay. I think the most important thing is we've got to work on your weaknesses. And I don't want to sound negative, but we all have weaknesses. Maybe it's, you know, our accounting and after the sale and tracking expenses and things like that. Sometimes, you know, I mean, we all have weaknesses. So the only way for you guys to grow as investors and wholesalers is to face those weaknesses and face your fears and try to overcome that. And Tim, I think you might agree with me. I think we both would agree with this statement is practice and repetition overcomes a lot of these fears. And
Definitely.
The more you use it, the more you put yourself in that situation, the more comfortable and confident you're going to be when the next one comes. But if you're not practicing, if you're not putting yourself in that position of talking to sellers or marketing or putting together a POP, then you know you're always going to have some concerns and confusion. So it really comes down to what is your biggest one, and we need to focus on that. So if that's your biggest hurdle, then we got to figure out a way to overcome that, and we're going to give you exercises to do that. I mean, the only way I know how to get comfortable is to go through the motions of videotaping in a house and uploading it to YouTube. Even if it's a 2-minute video, we've got to get these things down. Tim, I was watching your video on, what is it, Letta?
Yeah.
Did you shoot that? The one that you sent out, you know, hey, it's
no, I think Jason shot that.
I was going to comment, that was one comment that I was going to make when we talked off air before this, is whoever shot that video did a really good job.
Yeah, well, Jason did that, and I've been working with Jason. He's kind of a guinea pig, so you speak, for a lot of things that I'm trying to teach here. And, you know, I just told him it's just the whole thing. Well, he was at the seminar, and George, he listened to you, and he watched the How to Video a House, and Jason, he's been practicing, and I thought he did a good job, too.
Yeah, he went really slow. I was curious to see how slow he really, because we always think that we're going extremely slow, but the way he shot that video, and I'm not, you know, I don't, I'm just saying that the way he shot that video was extremely good. It really gave me a good idea of what this house looked like. You know, and I'd already seen it, but you know, he didn't have any audio. It was just kind of, you know, it's just visual. I was just captivated by. He went very slow, room by room, and just kind of. But I'm curious, and you guys, I mean, I think all of you guys should watch that video on how, you know, he did the interior of the house and how slow he went. And that was a 3-minute video that he went through 1,300 square feet.
Right.
So it's a good case study, I think, Tim, for them to see how they should walk through each room and go slow, because it really, I think it was a well-timed video.
Well, good. I'll let Jason know you said that. Hey, guys, there's 13 of you, and if you can see on your screen right now, it has a poll, and it says, what are you having the most trouble with, and it gives you a bunch of choices. I don't get to see who picks what, okay? But I do need the 11 attendees on this call to select an answer. It shows that you're all logged on via computer. We don't have anyone just on a phone. and we're not above 80%, which means there's 2 or 3 of you still that need, if you can see that poll on your screen, I can tell that several of you aren't looking at your screen, but I need you to select an answer so I can close this poll. I cannot tell what you picked, so don't worry about that, but I need to get this thing to 100%. So according to the system, several of you, Rustin, Justin, Joe, David, aren't paying attention to the screen right now. Yep, there they go. Everybody's paying attention now. I need you guys to click an answer on the poll. There we go. We're almost to 100%.
I don't even know how to click the poll. I'm looking at the screen, Tim, and how would I choose that?
You're not allowed to.
Oh, okay, I got you.
You're a panelist.
Ah, I see.
I don't think it'll let you. Did you try?
Maybe there was some late breaking news on CNN that stocks have plummeted another 16%.
Well, we're above 90% now, and David Vasquez tells me that's not true. So anyway, Joe says he was surfing. He had already answered the poll. Well, guys, if I called your name, I wasn't saying that you hadn't done it, but it did get me 2 or 3 more. So, all right, it looks like 44% of you, so almost half of the people on this call are concerned, say that the leads are what they're having the most trouble with. Where to get leads? You guess.
I love it.
And 22% with comps, 22% finding buyers, 11% pop, 0% SOS. Okay, so I'm going to start at the top and work down. Leads. Starting next week, we are going to begin asking you guys to start advertising. Because we're going to try to get
we call this go time. Can we affectionately call this go time? Is it go time, Tim?
Yes, it is go time. And we're going to do that because the ideal time for your marketing to hit on most lists, with the exception of the pre-foreclosure list, are I'm going to share this. I'm showing you guys the poll results right now. So the ideal time to hit people's mailbox is typically the first week of the month, and the reason for that is that's when a lot of people are the most motivated because they have bills due that week. They're getting their mortgage bills. They're getting all their bills in, and that is statistically the best time to hit their mailbox, so to speak. So what we're going to do is
you there?
Yeah.
Okay.
I will, let's see, what is today, Friday? On Monday, guys, we'll have another coaching call, and that coaching call will be on marketing strategy. It will be getting you teed up to, yeah, we'll do it on Monday. And it'll be Monday morning, though, because I've got houses I have to look at all Monday afternoon, and I'm trying to go wholesale one Monday afternoon as well. So we'll do Monday morning. George, do you have a time that's good for you?
Well, I got kids are going. No, let's see. First day of school is Monday, so I got to be at school till about 8:30, and then I've got a meeting at 10. So it'd have to be, is this going to be a 30-minute call?
Probably 30, 45 minutes. I don't have to be anywhere till 2 o'clock.
Okay.
I mean,
I've got a 10 to 12 meeting already. So and then I've got a 2 o'clock meeting. So
we do 12:30 to 1.
Yes, 12:30 to 1.
So we'll just do a 12:30 to 1 marketing strategy webinar.
Yep.
Okay. And then, guys, I'm about to assign you some homework. Then what I need you to do is work on the homework. If you don't have a way to get comps, you need to find a way to get comps. Okay, I've done a couple VIP ride-alongs this week, and the resounding thing that made me a little unhappy was lack of ability to pull comps and no practice at it. That's the backbone of this business. Once you get people to call, if you don't know how to run comps, it's really pointless to get the call because you don't know how to go evaluate the property. So what I need you to do is either get Investway, get Property Analyzer Pro. You can go to nitrous.net and get only solds and leased comps. You got to do something. If you absolutely are on this call and have absolutely zero idea how to get comps, send an email to edu@flipthatcontract.com and we'll hold your hand through it. Otherwise, you need to get access to comps and you need to start practicing. You need to pick your neighbor's house and run comps on it. You need to go drive your target zip code, find an REO, and run comps on it. You've got to get proficient on it. Yeah, you've got to practice on hard houses too. And so finding buyers, we'll do a call on it probably next week too. And I'm actually doing one on the POP right now, so we'll work with you on that. If you answered finding buyers and you haven't added me and George to your Cash Buyers MailChimp free email account, that's probably one problem you're going to have. You got to do that. So before we get into questions and everything, what I'm going to do is we'll get back in here and we will show you guys what your lovely homework assignment is. So,
hey, I don't know if it would help, but you know, I had a wholesaler send me a deal, and I'm trying to pull it up right now. I don't know if it's, but she had the email that she sent out, and then she sent me to her, you know, all the information that she had. I thought it was packaged up really well. You know, she's a student, and anyway, the deal didn't make sense to me, but I guess my point is she had this packaged up where, you know, she had all the information. The only thing I needed to do was go out there and check out the property, if that makes sense. So you know, maybe I'll do a quick, you know, maybe not now, but I just wanted to show you, hey, here's one person, here's a wholesaler that is packaging up this POP and she sent me an email, and then she also sent me out the link where I could. The one thing that she didn't do was she didn't put the link for the actual POP, but I'll show you all the stuff she gave me, and I'm going to shoot that real quick video and put that under marketing your POP. Just, you know, I think it would be helpful for you guys to see how she packaged this up, put it in an email, and she had 3 different videos. She had the comp links, she had a link for comp, she had a link for 3 videos: interior, exterior, and garage. And I'll show you that. And then she sent me an email list, which you guys could do at the, you know, the third thing was supporting documentation, which she sent me the box.net link. And I'm going to pull that up right now, and I'm just going to see. It wasn't her. Let's see. It was her partner, Nancy. And anyway, she sent me this box.net link when it had like 7 different documents. It had survey, it had foundation quotes, it had all this stuff, supporting information that I really, you know, it really made it easy for me. Before I ever went out there, I printed it all out, I watched the videos, and then I went and walked the house. And you know, it wasn't something that I liked as an end investor because of the floor plan, but it wasn't because of her presentation. She got me out there in 4 hours because of her presentation. Let's put it that way.
Good. So you'll do a quick video on that?
Yeah, and I'm going to list that under, I'm going to put that under Module 5, Tim, or for everybody. I'll put that under Module 5 is, hey, look what a wholesaler, look what she did. Look how she packaged it up, and just a quick, and so hopefully you can see that you know, she's following our lead. She's putting together this stuff.
Cool. And I just set up the webinar for Monday, the designing your marketing plan, and I just chatted that to all of y'all. So now the fun stuff. Your homework. Target 1, 4118 Cheyenne, Rowlett, Texas 75088. This is a rent house I own. It is a 422. I want you to use the ERC of $10 a foot. Now, not giving you any other information. You need to send an email to edu@flipthatcontract.com, and you need to have a box.net link or any other online file server where you can upload pictures and PDFs. And it needs to be public and easy to access. You need to include a completed SOS, a completed purchase contract. Whatever your SOS tells you you should pay me for the house, you need to practice writing up a contract and signing that contract. And so I want that in that box.net link as well. I need pictures of any house, exterior pictures, interior pictures. You can use your personal residence, or you can drive over to an REO over the weekend, but I need to see pictures. I need to see video of a house. You need to shoot a good quality video that will make me want to buy the house, that will show me everything I need to know in video format. You need to complete and fill out a POP, the property overview packet. You need to include in this box.net a PDF copy of your sold and lease comps that you based your SOS ARV off of. And you need to include the tax rolls. If you intend to be a wholesaler, you need to be able to perform this very minimal function of writing up a house and estimating an ARV, pulling the comps, and I'm doing the ERC for you. Because you're not going to go inside my rent house. They've been there for 4 years. I guess the ERC is probably closer to 15, but oh well. And then target number 2. This is the house that I put under contract to wholesale on Tuesday. This is 13707 Birch Lawn in Farmers Branch, 75234. It's a 322 brick. I gave you an ERC of 10. I'm going to change that to 15 because that is much more accurate. So ERC of 15. Send an email to edu@flipthatcontract.com. Use a box.net or any other online file server that you can share that people don't have to sign up for an account with. Include an SOS, a purchase contract as if you're making me an offer on the house, a picture of any house, not the same as you used for target number 1, by the way. A video of any house, again, not the same one that you used for target 2 or target 1. The sold and lease comps that you come up with, and the tax rolls. Now, for Bill, who is in New Jersey, Bill, I need you to email me the county that you live in, and I will send you 2 addresses for you to practice on and to complete this process on. Betty, the first address, and this is being recorded, so you'll be able to, I'll be posting it as soon as we're done, is 4118 Cheyenne, and that's in Rowlett, Texas, 75088. It is a 4-bedroom, 2-bath, 2-car garage brick house, ERC of 10. The next house is 13707 Birch Lawn Drive in Farmers Branch, Texas, 75234. It's a 322 brick, ERC of 15. What I want you guys to do is when you're filling out the purchase contract, you need to make sure you look at the seller's name on the tax rolls, and that's the name that you need to put in the seller's name on the contract. You should all have the ability to pull comps. You should all have the ability to pull tax rolls. You should all have the ability to download and fill out a contract. Before I open up to questions, George, do you have any comments?
No. No, I think that's great. Yeah. I mean, part of this exercise is to, go through the motions, and, we're going to find out who's got questions and who can and who can't by doing this exercise. I mean, this is what you have to do in order to run a successful wholesaling business. And in writing a purchase contract, and I guess we're going to, you're going to figure out what number you're going to need, and you need to remember that in the SOS, all the numbers should be, are going to be different, because some of you guys want to make $8,000, some of you guys are willing to make $3,000. But
And
the
remember,
SOS, yeah.
Remember, your goal is to get the house and to make money. Your goal isn't to try to lowball. If you go out there trying to lowball and trying to make the most money to start, you're going to be pretty unsuccessful. I use my baseball for real estate analogy of, let's start out trying to hit singles. And once you have a high enough batting average, then you can try to hit some doubles and triples. And who knows, you may get lucky and hit a home run. But step one is to get on base. Rustin, hey, George, Rustin asked a question. He asked if you could please let him know how to approach buyers at the auction so they can add them to our buyers list.
Yeah, what I would do is, Justin, what I would do is, and all of you guys need to be doing this to add people to your databases. I would have a business card, and if I were approaching you, Justin, and you're sitting, or Rustin, sorry, Rustin, if I were approaching you at the auction, I'd say, hey, my name is George Roddy. I'm a local real estate wholesaler. I'm coming across a couple good deals every month, and I wanted to know, if you'd be interested in looking at those deals. I know you're here trying to buy on the courthouse steps, but can you kind of give me an idea? Are you interested in looking at some wholesale deals? These are going to be deals that are close or that have high equity, but they're all going to need some repairs. And I just wanted to see if I could add you to my database. I'm not going to spam you. I'm not going to. Once I have a deal, I will send it to you. But if you could just let me know kind of where, if I have a deal or where you don't want. And for instance, if I go to Collin County, you just ask. Where's your primary backyard? I'm assuming it's in Collin County. Are there any areas that you don't want me to send you deals? For instance, I might not want to look at Wiley. And so I'd say, yeah, I want to be in Allen, McKinney, Plano, and Frisco. So just ask them, hey, what cities or even zip codes do you want to look at, or more importantly, that you do not want me to send? Because I'm going to get a few deals every month, and some of them are going to be in Wiley, some of them are going to be in Richardson, some of them, they're going to be all over the place in Collin County. But you're going to Collin County, Rustin, so assume that that's their backyard. You just want to find out where do they not want to look, and that's how you kind of build your database. And the more information, as you know, that you can get for each of your buyers, the better, the more succinct your list is going to be. So that's how I would say it, is just approach them that, I'm going to find a couple deals. I'm not in a position to take them down myself. I am going to mark them up, so it makes it worth my while, but I understand that you need to make money, and I'm not going to bring you deals that I don't think is going to make you money.
Justin has a question. Justin, so you're sending to me as the end buyer. No, Justin, basically approach this as in you're sending this deal that you have under contract to me and George, and you're wanting us to partner with you on it. So you're kind of giving us the option. Picture this. You're giving us the option to either help you wholesale it or to buy it from you. So the seller name on the contract would be whoever the seller of record is. And you do not need to include an assignment contract, because you're basically just sending the deal that you have to us for review as partners. Okay, you're welcome. Anybody else have questions? We're now open for questions. You have 14 minutes and 18 seconds. Actually, a bit of a joke, but
Hey, so this one on Birch Lawn, Tim.
Yes, sir.
How was this one? How did you find this one?
It's actually kind of funny. She said she said it was she said she got a letter, which would mean it was a probate, but her dad died 4 years ago, and I couldn't find records of her in the probate list recently. So my thoughts are that she actually got a postcard because she is on my zip code mailer list.
And this is just your high equity or owners that have owned the property for?
Yeah, it's part of my 15 years or more owner list. And, you know, it's a smaller house in a farmer's branch. It's worth less than 130. And that's the type of houses I target over there.
Okay. And who went? Did any of the students go on this with you?
Yeah, Gene Arwood was with me that day, and we didn't even have an appointment at the house. We actually we were at our 11 o'clock appointment in Mesquite, and she called right as we were doing that, and I set her up for 1 o'clock, and we stopped, got tax and comps, swung over there, made an offer on the spot, and sent a follow-up letter via email about an hour later, and she forwarded it to her brother's cousin, who is a realtor. He looked over it and called me on Wednesday morning to counter me up a couple grand, and I went ahead and did it and emailed him the contract and got the contract back yesterday morning.
Gotcha.
And I finally got the contract back on that two-story house in Garland yesterday as well.
That's awesome.
Yeah, those of you that were on the bus trip, we parked out in front of it, and I was telling you about the lady that had been dragging her feet. It's been vacant for 2 years.
Oh, yeah. The one that, it's a pretty big house?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Betty has a question.
And you told her that.
Okay, take videos of any houses around the neighborhood. No, Betty, what I'm saying is, you know, you want to find a vacant house that you can videotape. So basically,
or her house, you know, any house.
Yeah, well, you're going to have to find two houses to videotape. It can be a friend of yours. It can be a vacant house. It can be your own house once. But I'm kind of challenging you a little bit because unless you know someone that's going to let you come to their house and video it, you're probably going to have to call a realtor and get into an REO this weekend, which is something we've been telling you guys that you should do. It's the free part of this that, you know, you should have already done. You should be able to get into a house. You can call a wholesaler. You can call a realtor. You're going to have to break through that that resistance and get out there and get a house videoed and take pictures. You got to do two, so you could use your house for one, but you know.
Just title it. You know, Birch Lawn is one, and you know, what was the other one? The other target number one.
Yeah, Cheyenne.
Yeah. So 4118 Cheyenne. I mean, just title it. So all we want you to do, Betty, is to videotape a house, the interior and exterior of a house, and these videos should be, you know, probably less than 3 minutes or less. You know, you don't have to video every nook and cranny, but you know, give the user, give us an idea of what this house looks like from the outside and from the inside. You know, if there's any defects that you see, you've already walked through the house, and then you grab your camera or grab your phone that has a video camera on it and shoot the video. And then what you need to do is you need to upload that video to YouTube. So this is an exercise that is going to help you once you start marketing to people and you start writing up offers, and you need to start packaging up and promoting your deals. But if you haven't ever done it and you've got a good deal, I'd hate for you to miss out because you don't know how to market the deal. You know, because you have a short fuse. Let's say the first deal you get, Betty, they only give you, you know, you only have 7 days for an option period. Well, you got 6 days to be marketing, and you want to, you should already start marketing it, you know, once that contract comes back, just like Tim, you know, if you have a short fuse for a period of time, then you need to start actively marketing it, and you need to start posting it on dfwinvestors.com and mailing it out to your internal buyers database. And here's the thing: is if you have 3 people, you know, in your buyers database, that's fine. But there's other places. And marketing and the over 65 list, and we can get all that taken care of, but I got to make sure that you guys know what you're doing. We got to know that you know how to put this thing together. And anyway, it sounds like, Tim, you're back.
Yeah. Jim, you said you guessed the purchase contract should read John Doe to buyer Jim Rothstein. No, Jim, it should read whoever the seller of record is, which it's a trust on the Birchlawn property, and it's my limited partnership on my Cheyenne property. And that's who the seller name should read on the contract.
And where did they find that again? From the appraisal district. And y'all should, you know, that's the last thing on target 1 and 2 is the tax rolls. The tax rolls is also known as the appraisal district. So this one's in Rowlett, which I'm assuming both of these are in Dallas County. So
that is
you go
correct.
to Dallas County, Dallas County, and find out who's the owner of record, and that's how you write up the contract. And you're going to have to get the legal description from the appraisal district, and is it in a homeowners association or not? I'm assuming that both of these are not in a homeowners association, so you're not going to need to use the addendum for mandatory homeowners association on this contract. I would suggest that all of you guys write a 14-day option period, because, you know, Tim, the seller on Cheyenne, might be agreeable to it. We can always change it if he's not. And the one on Birchlawn, you know, put in a 14-day option period, because that gives you 13 days to be marketing this deal. Not every seller is going to allow that, but you've got an option period because you guys don't want to buy this. And if you don't find, if it's not a good deal, the market's going to tell you.
It's going to tell you quick.
Yep.
And that's another thing. You know, a couple of you guys have heard me in different conversations, not getting option periods, getting option periods, acting like people don't need an option period and all this other stuff. Well, and I've always told you that I get option periods when I feel like I need an option period. And, you know, today is another example of a house that I offered 15 on Monday for this house, and they came back to me and said, look, we'll take 22. Well, 22 doesn't really make me that excited. So I told them, look, I'll go 21, but I need a 7-day option. And they said, well, how much are you going to give us for that? I said, $20. And they ended up taking it. So now my job in the next 7 days, once I get 7 days from the day I receive that executed contract, my job is to get a solid cash offer on the house. And if I can make $2 or $3 grand, sweet.
And if you can't,
terminate.
Yep.
And
that's one of the documents we go over in, I think, contracting papering up this deal is you need to understand how to terminate the deal. You know, I mean, Tim, you haven't had to terminate any because you're buying them right. But there's going to be times where there might be a chance that you get something under contract and you do your darndest to market the heck out of it. It's just not going to happen. So you have to be prepared to terminate this deal, and you need to know who do you send it to and how do you actually terminate this deal. All right, I've got 2:01. It's time, Tim. Anything else?
We got one more question. I'm trying to get to it. I was replying to an email. Send me the address and I'll market it for you. Which address, Rustin? You talking about the Farmers Branch house? Oh, you're talking about the Mesquite house I put under option. Yeah. As soon as I get the contract back, you'll definitely see it. You know, I've added every one of you guys to my cash buyer list because I hope you're out meeting people at the country club, at the church, at the Roddy Roundups, at the real estate investor circles, at the Lifestyles Unlimited classes, anywhere you can go. I hope you're building a cash buyer list. It is not, you know, at the country club, at the golf course, at your kids' baseball games. You need to be talking to people. You need to be telling them, hey, yeah, I buy and sell houses. I mainly sell them to investors. Do you know anyone? I mean, you've always got to be selling that because this is supply and demand. If you can find the demand, the supply will come easy. I just realized I got a little too close to the microphone on that. Sorry. All right. We've got 1 minute and 39 seconds left. Anybody else got questions? Questions about the homework? Try to follow instructions. I don't want these emails to come to my DFW investors. I need them all to go to the edu at Flip That Contract. That's another thing. I want the little housekeeping note. For Flip That Contract related issues, please send your emails to edu at flipthatcontract.com. It is monitored by me, by George, by Brian, and by a couple other people that we have assisting us. It is the quickest way to get your issue handled or addressed. If you're a VIP, you use the VIP email address. That's very, very important. It's, you know, we've extended the course. We realize that a lot of you are overwhelmed right now. We realize a lot of you are still sifting through Module 2 and sifting through Module 3, which is one of the reasons we really haven't put that much emphasis on Module 5 yet. But that's coming next week, and Module 6 is simple. But, you know, if you've got questions or issues, you need to make sure you use the appropriate communication channels so that we can make sure that, one, nothing falls through the cracks, but two, so we can make sure they're handled in a timely manner. If you are feeling overwhelmed right now, trust me, we're going to tie it all together for you over the next couple of weeks. You should feel overwhelmed. We've put a lot of data in front of you. We've put a lot of information. We've given you a lot of tasks. You're learning a lot of new things. You're stretching beyond your comfort zone. But just remember, you're going to get out of it what you put into it. So just, guys, continue to put into it 100%. So that's all I have. It's 2:05. I started 5 minutes late. I'm going to end right on time. If you have any questions, problems, issues, concerns, give me a holler. If VIPs that are listening to this, pay attention. Do not show up without an ability to pull comps and knowing how to use the software. I'm going to have you pulling comps all day on the ride along, and I need an assistant that day. So get in, learn to pull comps. They don't have to be perfect. Trust me, I'm not going to make a purchasing decision on them, but practice makes perfect. So, George, closing?
No, that's it. I mean, I think you summed it up. I mean, we've got these two homework assignments. You know, during, in the program, we've got the modules on how to fill out the SOS, the purchase contract, videotaping the house, finding sold and lease comps. I mean, you know how to find the appraisal district. So there aren't, now it's time to start putting together some of this stuff. We got to start putting it all together, and this is our first homework assignment, and y'all got to do it. I mean, bottom line is, if you want to be successful, you need to start following our lead and learning how to do this thing inside and out, and you'll start cashing checks here in the near future. But if you don't, it's I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, refer back to my expectations video that I recorded a couple weeks ago. Guys, we wish you the best of luck. We'll talk to you on Monday during the marketing strategy webinar. Otherwise, have a great weekend. Enjoy your family. Enjoy God, and we'll see you next week.